Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the director's commentary for episode 18 of The Journeyman. I want to give you a little peek behind the curtain, some insight. Today, I'm going to sort of focus on these intros here. In the actual intro, I'm talking about how the fact that I had a couple of days off because I had a smoke, and then I got food poisoning and spent a day on the toilet watching Succession. Obviously, this looks like friendly banter, but it's heavily scripted. We normally do have a team full of writers, but obviously there's a strike going on at the moment. But let's get into this sweet, sweet intro. We all love it. So here we are back in the video, as always. Just doing a basic summary of games that have happened before. As you can see, it's pretty terrible, but we are playing the big teams now. We're in this championship group. It's a struggle. It's a really good storyline. It's a strong storyline that we threaded from the beginning, sort of not knowing how the setup was going to be of the group and stuff. Now, basically, I'm talking about just how shit my team is, essentially, and how Novak now just never scores any goals. We don't have any strikers that score any goals. And the fact we're looking to mix things up for next season and trying a new tactic. Good shout there. Really focusing on Novak. He's reminiscing, if you will. Obviously, he had an amazing first season, and then second season has just started well, but I think his form was carrying him for a while, and now he's realised he's not that good at football. But it's a good ongoing storyline. I think we'll see maybe a wrap-up of the Novak storyline next season. But it's been one of the stronger storylines of the series so far. Now he's just picking some subs that aren't ineligible, and we're getting on with it. It's a big game. Playing Dunstredder twice today. I thought it would be quite fun to do a cup final with them, but before that we play them in the league just to sort of get a sense of whether we can beat them. So here we go with kickoff. Obviously, we have ILM doing all the graphics and the 3D stuff, so you can see the match as it goes on. Working hard with them. They've been great partner to work with. So a lot of the time we'd like to start the game slow, just to sort of get everybody used to it, everybody sitting down, and we can just sort of talk about other stuff. I think these parts aren't scripted. These are ad-libbed, and I believe in this episode I do go on a sort of possibly 5-minute rant about Saudi Arabia and the hypocrisy around it. Which, it's a tough subject, probably not the best for ad-libbing, especially because I have zero knowledge of the situation, really, and probably shouldn't be talking about it. But it is what it is. I started saying the sentence, and if you're ad-libbing, you just got to go on. So it's a bit of one-sided so far this game. We will be inviting an expert to come and have a little chat right at the end of this video to sort of give their thoughts on this episode. So look forward to that. Norbert, being his usual terrible self, clearly offside. A little bit of tense there. It's not looking good. This builds the tension. Although it looks very one-sided, it's still 0-0 and anything can happen. Oh, it's a little surprise injury there. Just jumps in. And now we have the deadly set-piece taker that can't play football, Juric, coming on. Adds to that extra, will we get a corner type situation. We're just running up to half-time here. Everything's pretty chill. Boom! Not anymore. Desmond scores after a bit of a flap from the pie. Right on half-time. He's not going to be happy with that. It really adds this sort of sense of tension, though, to the second half. Like, what's he going to do? Is he going to change the formation? Is he just going to do what he normally does and magically hope for the best and just hit continue in the hopes that suddenly we play a different brand of football? But as you can see, this game does not bode well for the cup final. Right, Juric making a run here this time. Plays it to Novak. We still haven't technically give you a sort of peek behind the curtain here, but we haven't re-signed Novak for the forthcoming seasons. It's not to say that he won't be joining the cast, but we want to sort of keep that door open, keep the fans guessing. If you knew that he'd signed on for another 5 years, it would take away from it, right? So we're going to sort of keep people on the hook, including Novak himself. I think he needs it. Make him work hard. So now we're changing tactic. I'm talking at the moment about the fact that next season I'm thinking about dropping the number 10 and going a DM, pushing the 2 central midfielders on. And although we don't quite have the players for it just yet, we're going to sort of see how it goes in the second half because, as we saw, incredibly one-sided. Like, what are you supposed to do in this? So have a little punt, push the 2 central midfielders on a little bit. They're 2 of our stronger players. And we also don't have many options on the bench. So, yeah, didn't really give us much choice. You can see by his face, he's not really believing what he's just done. He's not confident. Let's see if that comes to fruition. The Pie looking comfortable in goal there. This is a little period where we decide it would be quite fun to just give away a load of really incredibly dangerous free kicks. Just for fun. Great stuff. Pie makes a fantastic double save there. Still only playing a 6.8. I do believe we correct that in a minute. That was a problem with the editing. I think we moved that to 7 just shortly if you want to look at the goalkeeper rating there. There we go, fixed. But then we decided it's too much, so we put it back down to 6.9. But overall, as you can see, tactic change hasn't really done anything whatsoever. Nothing really has changed. So obviously now a little bit of panic. With the end of the season as it is, this could be a very important game. We might not get European football. We could get overtaken by them if we go on a bad run against these top sides. So now I'm essentially just making panic subs for the last 15 minutes. I think he's just realised at this point that Sipka should probably have started the game. But he decides not to mention it to try and hopefully sort of cover it up and nobody realise his mistake. So we're getting into the last 15 minutes of this game now. It's not looking hopeful. It's an absolute demolition of a 1-0. But sometimes you've got to do these games, right? Now this sets up the cup final perfectly. Little shot there from range. Little ripple of applause there. But now this sets up the final perfectly. Nobody's expecting anything, right? Everybody watching it, you guys now are fully expecting that will happen again. They do have a little man sent off in the right at the end there. Could mean something for the final. But everybody is on their seat watching this, is expecting this to happen again now, right? So, whereas before, there would have been a bit more hope. Now there's like no hope. It's a free hit. But can we pull out a little bit of magic? So here we are, setting up for the cup final for Toots out, but honestly, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I think he sort of talks about changing tactics for this, seeing the demolition that we saw last time. But I think he's going to stick with it. One thing you'll probably have noticed there, that Bear is actually back from injury, long-term injury. Really good to see Bear back. It actually wasn't written in the script originally. He was supposed to have a sort of solid season, but he got pregnant. So we had to write an injury into the script and stuff. Now we're sort of pretending to bring him back from injury. You know, all that sort of good stuff. But really pleased with how that storyline. Nobody expected it, and it went well. But now we've got the cup final. We saw what happened before. Everybody, you just admit it. You're all thinking, well, if I'm not going to change tactics, which I'm not, then nothing is going to change, right? We're just going to get slaughtered again. So let's see how that goes. Try to G himself up there a little bit. I don't think there's any talk about Saudi Arabia this game. And we're off in the cup final. One thing we did ask all the fans to turn up for the filming of this scene, but unfortunately, we didn't fill our half of the stadium. Juric pounces, though, on this loose ball early on, 3 minutes in. Whips the ball across and Lejeune scores. And suddenly, out of nowhere, we are 1-0 up in the cup final 3 minutes in. I really like the switch there. I like the fact it's an early goal. We're all expecting them to be on top. But now what does it mean? We know from the previous game that they're way better than us. So are we just expecting another 80 minutes of them attacking us? Can we hold on to this 1-goal lead? You know, it's exciting times. I think, I think most people watching would say that we need a second goal here to sort of really stand any chance after what we saw last time out. This did bring on to a little sort of discussion here. Oh, hang on, Norbert. This did bring me on to a little bit of a discussion here about the possibility of one of the central midfielders central defenders making it into the Hall of Fame. There's definitely conversation for this. We're a newly promoted side. We got to a cup final. We're challenging for the league in our first season. And our defence, our back three has been incredibly solid. But we're going to do a fan vote. So if you want to persuade me why any of the centre-backs should go into the Hall of Fame, please leave it in the comments. And I think there's a couple. I think Murat Cremosta's good, but he's not ours. I think I'm favouring Murat at the moment. But let me know your thoughts, because I think definitely one of them deserves to be for what they've done this season. Maggie as well's coming and done well. Benkovsky, the good youngster. So we're at half-time now, so sitting pretty. We weren't expecting an early goal, and we certainly weren't expecting not to concede in that first half. And actually, although they have had chances, we look okay this time round. We have incredible possession, so as long as we can keep hold of that ball, we should be fine. But we know they're going to have opportunities. Terrible pass there. As you can see, Loki losing his hair if he had any. I think we're about to see what should have been. It was scripted as a horrific two-footed lunge red card, but the ref forgot his lines. And then Cock and Bollocks scored again. But as you can see from the replay here, what was scripted was the two-footed lunge on the Ginger. And just didn't see it. We rolled on and just decided to use it. I'm going to bring a special guest on just to say a few words about the making of this episode. So would you like to introduce yourself and say something? Duncan! As you can see, he's very proud that Lejeune has just scored to make it 2-1 with a Norbert assist. And suddenly, the dream is alive once again. 2-1, cup final, newly promoted team. Is this the stuff of legend? We do... minor spoiler alert here. We do have another mix-up in the recording of this episode. You'll see shortly. This clearly is offside, but once again the linesman didn't read the script. I wasn't even celebrating it because in the script it's an offside, but apparently the lino just had an off day. Maybe the right back was not in the right position, but either way it's a goal that I didn't even celebrate in the cup final. So it's a little bit mixed messages, but we're okay with it. It's kind of funny. We'll let it go. But Juric got himself a rare goal. And this is me swapping to a more sort of fighter jet formation to try and make sure we hold on to this 3-2 lead with 15 minutes left. Set it up nicely. You can see him sort of panic pressing the buttons a little bit. Not sure what he should do. Which is weird considering he's played the game for 25 years. You'd think he'd got the hang of it by now. Okay, now it's time to defend. Can they do it? Can they pick up silverware? I'm assuming it's for the first time in the club's history. They're passing it around nicely. Probing. Obviously, always we still play them on up top. We've always got the danger of a counter-attacking goal. Good block. Girk chests it down terribly and then whips it across, and there we are. Set up perfectly. It's 3-2. Girk, he made it look a little bit obvious that he was trying to let a goal in. He decides, rather than clearing it, he decides to sort of chest it to the opposition. A little bit obvious on that front, but now we're set up perfectly. 5 minutes left. Pretty even game overall. I think we've saved subs to waste a bit of time now. It's full defence. All out defence here now. Just move everything back. Just 2 lines of 5. And hope for the best. We do have a couple of subs as well, so that'll waste a little bit of time. And this is the point where you just hit confirm and you hope for the best. It's all out of your hands now. You've done everything you can. Can we hold on to this 3-2? And there it is. A cup final victory in our first season in the division. A heroic performance, especially after the setup from last game where they absolutely destroyed us. You see, Loki's absolutely delighted there as we lift the trophy. The 2 goalkeepers, Kermit and the Pie, really seem to enjoy the celebration as much as anyone here. They are loving it. They are delighted, jumping around like little schoolgirls. They are loving it. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed today's commentary. We're going to get a little bit of prize money here. For those wondering what actually is going on. Occasionally, just very occasionally, not enough to make me check every time, but just occasionally, OBS decides to change my microphone output and just change it to something else that's not a microphone. So there was no sound on this video, but it was cup final. So, you know, kind of important. So rather than just do a little thing, I thought I'd do a commentary. Hope you found this fulfilling and you've learned something. Here's me looking smug at how great we are. And also a little bit of chat about next season, what tactic we're going to be looking at. There's the 60 grand. Lejeune doing bits out of nowhere. Loving that. 60 grand in the bank. But like I said, talking about next season and maybe how we do things differently and how close the league is. We've qualified for the Europa League guaranteed now, which is fantastic. I think first place qualifies for the Champions League qualifiers, and then second and third go in the Europa League qualifiers. So that's nice to get in the bag because there's a good chance we still finish 4th. Obviously, we've got massive teams to play against and stuff. So I'm just checking that now to make sure that is actually the case. I don't know if winning the cup gets you further in the European qualifiers because it's only the first qualifying round. But that's the Conference League. So you know, who knows? We'll find out when we get there, right? Yeah. So I just want to say thank you for watching this commentary. I hope you've not just been entertained, but learned something from the episode. Little sort of behind the curtains type feeling to how this all sort of goes down. The production normally takes about 3 months, and then the editing and stuff like that afterwards. We have to wait for all the ILM stuff to come through, so we get obviously the graphics and everything. So it's for each episode, it's usually a sort of 3-month turnaround. It did start off like 4 months, but we managed to get it down. So we're really happy with that. But like I said, hope you've learned something today and enjoyed the DVD commentary. We are Cup final winners. We are great. Thank you.